Hi everybody, welcome back to Sporty-Clips. Recently, one of the other baseball dads wanted to learn more about my streaming setup, so I showed him everything I was using. And when he noticed the portable Wi-Fi router sitting right next to the Hotspot, he asked why I needed both. Well, just this past weekend at the end of a family spring break vacation, our son played in a one-day tournament with the Virginia Baseball Junkies. And for the very first time, because I didn't want to bring all my gear on the trip, I finally tried using just the Hotspot. And you get to see how it turned out when we head over to the lounge and check out the latest highlight video from the Junkies tournament. So without further ado, let's capture it. Hi, my name is Chris, and thank you for joining me on my post-retirement sports video making adventure. Our family just returned from a really wonderful spring break down in North Carolina, and I hope you also had a chance to spend time with loved ones and relax a little. After a few days of swimming, fishing, and exploring, we concluded the trip with our son playing as part of the Virginia Baseball Junkies guest player experience, which brings together boys from different teams to compete, usually in a short one-day or weekend tournament. This was our second year in a row playing with the Junkies. In this case, Alex joined 9 other boys representing a total of 9 teams from 2 states in a one-day Top Gun tournament in Wake Forest, North Carolina. The boys did well enough to play 3 games, finish runner-up, and most importantly, they got in a lot of reps and had a really good time. The Virginia Baseball Junkies is a really neat program, and we've met some great families, coaches, and players both times we've participated. For this tournament, I volunteered to stream our team's video, but I made the deliberate decision before we packed up for spring break to only bring 2 Mevo starts, along with the Hotspot and camera we were going to be using on the trip anyway. So this became the very first time since I started using Multicam traveling with a significantly lighter package. I didn't have to bring tripods, extra cameras and lenses, a ton of batteries, a small table, or anything else required to run the complete setup with the Wi-Fi router. To be honest, the simplicity was quite refreshing. How did it work out? Overall, I think it went pretty well. I had one Mevo start behind home plate and the other one focused nearby on the batter. The Hotspot's cell reception was good enough to stream in 720 high definition resolution, although the stream did pause several times at seemingly random intervals during the 3 games we played. I was using the antenna I always use to maximize upload speeds, and whether this antenna actually works to improve cell connection, I frankly don't know for sure, but my connection does seem generally more reliable since I started using it. Now, not using a dedicated Wi-Fi router introduced at least 2 limitations into the stream itself. First, and most importantly, is range. The Hotspot I'm using advertises coverage up to 2,000 square feet, which sounds like a lot until you do the math and realize that's only about 25 feet between your Hotspot and the cameras it needs to connect to. This worked for me because my 2 Mevo starts were very close together and close to the Hotspot I had in the bleachers. This would never work if I wanted to place a camera further out along the baseline, and definitely not for a camera way out in center field. Meanwhile, the mobile router can support distances closer to 100 feet, which matches my own experience. And for what it's worth, I always choose to use a 2.4 gigahertz band as opposed to 5 gigahertz because although the 2.4 speed is less, the range is better. And every time I've tried a 5 gigahertz network, I immediately experience significant network interference, rendering the signal almost useless. Also, both my Hotspot and Wi-Fi router, as well as the streaming cameras, are all using Wi-Fi 6, which offers much greater range than Wi-Fi 5. Many of us are very excited to see Wi-Fi 7 introduced, but for now, Wi-Fi 6 is the standard and still very capable and sort of affordable. The second limitation of using the Hotspot alone is bandwidth. Without a dedicated Wi-Fi router, the Hotspot has to do more work since it needs to do the talking with the cameras and the smart device running the Multicam app, in addition to providing the upload to the cell tower. Now in theory, this could lead to overheating, increased battery drain, and degraded performance. I try to keep my Hotspot and the Wi-Fi router over a dedicated cooling fan, plugged into some sort of power source, and shaded to try and limit some of these challenges. Also, since I was just using 2 cameras this time and they were both only sending high definition resolution, not 4K, I really didn't need to worry about overtaxing the hotspot. Now, obviously this is not a technical review and I'm not an expert. There's plenty of information out there to research, but for practical purposes, again, for this particular case, the hotspot did just fine. Now for the fun part. Because we were able to capture all the game footage on the Mevo Start memory cards, and I was free to get some photos and videos with my Canon camera, I was able to create a short little highlight video to share with the families. So why don't we head over to the lounge and take a look. Okay, here is the beginning of the highlight video. It's only a couple minutes long, but it shows the different players, the different uniforms. These kids had never met each other before. There wasn't an opportunity for practices, and they're playing against teams that have been playing together for theoretically years or more. But the boys typically do really well, have a good time. It's really neat to meet different families. So in the video, you can see I've got 2 different viewpoints, one behind home plate and then the picture-in-picture off to the batter's side. Meanwhile, I've interspersed some video that I took with my Canon camera and some of the pictures. Again, because it was a vacation, I didn't bring the normal 70 to 200 millimeter lens I use for sports. I was bringing a 24 to 70 millimeter lens that I use for portraits, so I did the best I could. But I think it turned out okay. You'll see I tried to include highlights for each of the 10 players on the team. Really like to see, again, the different uniforms, and the parents are from different areas. I think in this case we had teams from representing Virginia and North Carolina. Really just a fun experience. And as I mentioned earlier, the boys, even though they never played together before, did well enough to play in 3 games and finish runner-up in the tournament, which was pretty neat. And I think taking the photos and making a video for the boys and the families makes the whole experience really special. So I hope we get to play with the Junkies again later. All right, well, that concludes the little highlight video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you happen to live nearby and are interested in playing with the Virginia Baseball Junkies, I really encourage you to check it out. Maybe we'll see you in a ballpark someday. Meanwhile, I'm also excited to share another experiment I've been working on recently, which is streaming video from my camera rig using NDI straight to the Mevo Multicam app. Kind of feels like I'm actually part of a legit broadcasting team in the big leagues, or at least a wannabe cameraman. I look forward to sharing this and more with you real soon, so I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.